What's happening? Andy here. I am joined today by Brett Apold of ARCOA Group. Brett is in Wisconsin today. How are you, Brett?
I'm doing great, Andy. Good to see you.
Great to see you. Great to see you. We are just coming out of a meeting. We saw you at BTA a couple weeks ago, and you guys were had a nice buzz going on with some of the things you were showing. And I thought maybe we catch up. There's a couple more shows we're going to see you at coming up. And I thought maybe it'd be a good opportunity to talk about who ARCOA is, what you're doing at these shows, BTA, the upcoming iTech show, IT Nation. Both of these shows are coming up next week. You'll have a booth at one of them, and you'll be have a presence at the other. Give us some background. Who's ARCOA Group? What do you guys do? And what are you doing at these meetings?
Right. So yes, it's been very busy. So for our ARCOA Group, there's kind of two key components. There's Midwest Copier Exchange, which I know a lot of people watching this are familiar with. Midwest Copier Exchange. They've been around over 30 years, right? In the copier space, buying and selling copiers off lease. So that's been tremendously successful for our ARCOA Group. And the other sort of offshoot that's been around for the last 10 or 12 years is the recycling side, specifically electronics recycling. So we work with customers and helping them with their decommissioned IT assets, right? So when they're doing refreshes on new computers and laptops and tablets, et cetera, we help them with either properly recycling if there isn't value in that equipment, but more importantly, if there is value, helping them maximize the ROI on those assets and doing a revenue share back to those customers on those assets. So we'll purchase that equipment from the customer and do a revenue share back with them. And along with that, there's a couple other really key components to that. One is data security, which everyone should be thinking about and making sure they're handling their equipment the right way, right? So we make sure all hard drives are wiped. We can shred hard drives, which is obviously the most secure way to destroy data. We'll also do auditing of equipment, right? So that you have a record of those assets that are coming out of your company. So it's really a nice service offering. And we've been successful with that over the last dozen years. And we really saw a good opportunity to kind of merge the Midwest Copier side with the ARCOA side and look at how do we help copier dealers expand their business. And obviously, there's a lot of challenges in the industry currently, supply chain being one of them. Currently, right, that is, dealers are looking for how do we continue to look for other revenue streams. And this program that we call ERAS, which is Electronics Recycling as a Service, it's a natural sort of extension to offer to their customers. And again, there's kind of two sides of that, Andy. There's those copier dealers who are in managed IT, right? They're already managing those IT assets for their customers. Again, this is a natural extension of that. Help your customers on the end of life in helping them maximize the ROI on those assets. And along with that, just copier dealers looking at their customer base, right? All of their customers, especially the larger ones, right? The larger the customer, the more opportunity for this type of service, because you're looking for sort of volume in those assets. Not that we won't take someone's 5 laptops or 8 desktops, but really to sort of move the needle and make this program effective, you're looking for those customers, 150 seats and greater, right?
You want to pull trucks up to these places.
Yeah, ideally. Yeah, so it's a program that we're really excited about. We're starting to get some good traction. And when you talk about traction and trade shows, yes, we've been traveling extensively to all the appropriate shows to make sure that we're visible, that we get the opportunity to share the story of how we can help copy dealers grow their business. And both BTAs, both the national show and Southeast, were really good for us. We had really good buzz, good energy, good conversations with copier dealers about, offering this program to their customers. And next week, we'll be in 2 places. We'll be at iTech exhibiting there, which is a great show. And then I'm going to be walking around IT Nation, which is first time for me going there. So I'm excited to learn more about who's at that show and who we can, connect with there.
So some questions about the service, right? When did you guys launch this? How long have you been doing it now? Do you have a lot of dealers involved with it? Are they making money, and
Yep.
what's kind of the return on it for them? That's
Sure.
my first.
Yeah, so launched in late 2019, which obviously the pandemic kind of pulled us back a little bit, just in terms of being able to get out in front of people and talk about the program. But we have made headway through the course of 2020 and through 2021. We have several different copier dealers who are participating in the program. We've also just recently, inked a deal on a platform that's going to offer a spiff to sales reps. Obviously, one of the things we're learning is to help keep it top of mind for sales reps to talk about with their customers. You want to incentivize them.
Yeah.
And so, similar to what some of those OEMs do with incentive programs, we're doing the same thing, right? So if you as a copier dealer sales rep bring an opportunity to us and it translates to, us performing a service, there's a spiff component that goes to the sales rep directly, and then also a revenue share that goes to the copier dealer as well. So
how do the dealers typically use this service in their own world? Do they use this as a revenue source and they store up their own warehouse, fill it up with, let's just call it junk from their own customers, and then every month, every couple months you get a call? Or is this an ongoing service they're offering and providing for their own customers? Look, we'll come in, we'll take it away. Is this a chargeable service? I know it can be expensive if you go try to just get rid of old electronics on your own and you try to take them to a recycling place. Sometimes they'll take them for free. Sometimes they have days they'll take them for free. Other times, try to get rid of an old television, right? An old tube television, right? It's there's always an expense these days. And so is this something dealers can charge customers for? How are they making money at this?
yeah. So for the first part, it is both. There are opportunities for us to keep, gaylords on pallets sitting in a copier dealer's location. For those assets that don't have value, that we just want to sort of pile up, and once it makes sense for us to come pick it up, we'll do that. And if we're just recycling those assets, there are costs associated with that, right? Because we break that material down in-house, right, to the component level. So there's, labor costs, there's costs involved with doing that work. So we're also an R2 certified recycler. What that means is that no assets, no equipment goes into landfills, right? It's a landfill-free environment. We're third-party audited every year. So, knowing that we're R2 certified, you can trust that we're doing the right thing. When you talk about people doing it for free, there's a lot of recyclers out there who will do it for free. It may not cost you anything, but you may not get revenue back, right? And the other thing is making sure, do you know where those assets are going, right? I think there's a lot of recyclers out there who aren't doing the right thing, and those assets can end up in the wrong hands. Most recently, Morgan Stanley had a couple of instances where they did a data center decommission, right? Took equipment out of a data center. They tried to cut corners. They hired a moving company to actually perform that service. The moving company then gave the assets to a recycler who turned around and sold them, but none of the data was wiped off of those assets.
That is how you wind up on 60 Minutes, my friend.
Correct. So
nobody wants to be that guy. Nobody wants to be that guy.
Right. So trusting in your partner is really important. And, we bring that to the table. We've been in business for over 30 years. So to go back to, there's two sides. There's one where you can store equipment that doesn't have value and we come take that away. When equipment still has value, right? If it's 3 or 4 years old, or if you look at Apple equipment, that holds its value for quite a long time. You don't want that equipment to sit, right? It's a fluctuating market, and the equipment has the greatest value at the moment that it's decommissioned, right? It's like a car or anything else. So it's important that we get that equipment back so that we can turn around and sell that. So we will, come on site, get that equipment immediately so we can get it back and get the maximize the remarketing value out of that. So there's no sort of cookie cutter way. There's a variety of ways we work with copier dealers on this program. And with the key being, let's maximize the return, let's generate revenue for that copier dealer, along with, just extending out to their customers that you're helping them with their sustainability efforts and you're helping them make sure their data is secure.
So obviously the ones that I would first think that you'd be picking up: printers, copiers, old MFPs, presses, things of that nature. But we're talking all electronics. I heard you say laptops, right? Is it cell phones? Is it what else is there? What else can these guys go looking for while they're in a customer account?
Yeah, so the simpleton answer is anything that plugs into a wall, but we're talking computers, we're talking laptops, tablets, cell phones, networking gear, right? Anything that's sitting on the network, that equipment we take. We will take televisions, right? There is a charge for CRT TVs, right? Because there's material in that we have to make sure it's properly recycled. But yeah, any IT equipment we'll take and properly recycle.
That's awesome. It just makes it's such a no-brainer. I mean, I think there's a lot of companies out there. I visited a lot of companies out there that have a warehouse full of junk, and they're just waiting for somebody else to come pick it up and just to get it off out of their hair, right? Because they're just trying to, and they could be making money at this. So that's the message from this. And then and so this is a newer service, but the core that you guys are known for, you mentioned earlier, and I want to make sure we do plug that a little bit, is the Midwest Copier Exchange part of the company as well. Still a big part of the company, right? And I have to imagine these days, used equipment is probably more valuable than it's ever been. You guys actually have a search engine on your site that will allow somebody to look, I'm looking for a specific Canon model, Sharp model, Xerox model. Do you have it? Or do you have something close, right? And so you can give people quotes on it. How's that business going now? Since I would imagine that dynamic's changed in the last couple of years. Your warehouse may not be quite as full as it used to be. I wonder if people are holding equipment longer. What's that like? And again, maybe talk to how you can help dealers make money in that part of the company.
Yeah, business has been good. It really has. I think there's some concerns about inventory, right, with the supply chain issues that are happening. But now more than ever, it is, if dealers are looking for used equipment that they can turn around and sell, like reach out to us. Yes, we have a huge inventory of copiers and printers that rotates on a weekly, monthly basis. So always feel free to reach out and go on our website and search for inventory. That business has been really strong and will continue to be strong, as we move forward. Listen, it's kind of like electronics, recycling, right? Every business has a need for copiers, printers, and they all have electronics equipment, right? In some way, shape, or form.
If you just look at what's going on right now, there's constraints. There's companies that are having a hard time getting those machines into the dealer's hands, right? And I would say if I'm a dealer, maybe I put if the customer is okay with it and I get away with it, I'll sell a used piece of equipment and deliver now rather than waiting 2 months for the one that they're waiting on. We get paid now. We stop sitting there vulnerable waiting for our competitor to walk in and replace it with something, right? So it's here and now. So if you have it, and I would imagine there's more margin to be made in used equipment right now. I mean, if I've seen anything in the auto industry that mirrors this, it's a supply and demand issue, and people are keeping their equipment longer. They can't get new equipment all the time as easily as they did without waiting, at least. Sometimes you just need it now, you want it now. And here you guys are sitting on an inventory of well-maintained, good equipment, and it's ready to go out the door. So I'm not surprised to hear you say that it's doing well.
Yeah.
And we'll make sure we put a link in it in this video piece at the bottom where a dealer can go and look at that inventory page, and not just find inventory for product to sell. By the way, it's also, you can wind up on a page on that in that link where they're able to sell any inventory they may have. Maybe maybe you're a Konica Ricoh dealer and you brought in a Canon, right? And it's just sitting in your warehouse. You're not going to resell it. So what do you do with it?
Yep. Yeah, that's a great point, Andy. And that's a great resource for copier dealers as well. So yeah, thank you for that.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I can't believe the sun just came out. It's been pretty gross here for the last few days. So that's a good sign. I think on that note, we'll wrap up, but I want to thank you so much for coming on the show and talking to us. And I will see Ed at ITEX. I'll see you at IT Nation next week, and we'll chat there. Any last messages, any shout outs you want to make before we sign off?
I think in closing, I mean, listen, this is a great opportunity for copier dealers to find new revenue streams. This is an area that I've seen over the last 3.5 years, companies aren't proactive about, right? They're not excited about looking for it, but if you ask them the question, they've all got assets that they're looking to properly dispose of or get money back on. So just ask the questions. Do you have any decommissioned IT assets, and what are you doing with them?
Yeah, I'm
We're
sure
here to help.
Poke around your customer sites, you'll find everyone's got a closet where they've got a pile of old gear that they just haven't gotten rid of yet. And, that's money in somebody's pocket. It could easily be yours. So thanks so much for this, Brett. This was great, very informative. ARCOA Group, Midwest Copier Exchange, two great companies that offer a host of money-making opportunities for office equipment resellers, for IT resellers. And we will see you soon, Brett. Take care.
Thanks, Andy.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.